Hello everyone, I'm Naval Yemul. Welcome back to my channel Data Master. Today we have an exciting topic to delve into, that is how to productionize and automate your Databricks notebooks. If you are aiming to upskill in Databricks or looking to add an impactful projects to your resume, you are at the right place. So in this video, we will walk through a real world example from one of our client who is an e-commerce seller on Amazon. This client is providing us a raw CSV files and he'll manually upload it into our ADLS. So we implemented a Medallion architecture on top of it, ingesting all the raw data to the bronze layer and then move it to the silver and the finally to the gold layer. If you are not familiar with what is Medallion architecture, so I'll leave the link. You can just click on this I button to understand in detail about the Medallion architecture. So if you want to know detail end-to-end procedure or end-to-end project, please do let me know on the comment so that I can start it from the beginning. So this project or this video is specially focusing on ingesting the raw data into the bronze layer and then automating it via using Databricks workflows job. So let me explain you the architecture here. So here we are just manually uploading the data into ADLS Gen 2, but we have automated it in our real-time project by using Azure Data Factory. If you want to know all the step-by-step project, end-to-end project, please do let us know on the comment so that in the next video tutorial, I'm going to explain you a complete end-to-end project on the Azure data engineering with Data Factory, Databricks, Azure DevOps, and so on. But in this video, let us focus on uploading the CSV file manually into ADLS, that is Azure Data Lake Gen 2. And from there, we are just assuming that the mounting has done. So we are using a latest version of the Azure Databricks with an Unity catalog enabled. We have already created an external location and the storage credential, so we don't need to mount it. So if you are not aware of how to create an external location or the storage credential, I leave the link on this I button. You can click and you can just understand how we have connected it. So now we are just ingesting that CSV file into the bronze layer and we will be automating it. So this will be our part one of our project. In the part two, we will move from bronze to the silver and then from the silver to the gold and creating the dashboard. So we will be focusing on part one now, that is ingesting it and automating that process. Let us dive into our Databricks workspace. So for this demo, I have just used a all-purpose compute with only 4 cores, 8 GB memory, and my cluster is up and running here. And I have created a notebook in my workspace, and the notebook name is automating the ingestion layer. So there's nothing here. So we will be start working on it one by one. Now let me go back, and here I have dedicated a container. The container name is raw and the storage account name is data master Databricks. Inside this raw, I have a folder called a directory as an Amazon e-commerce, and in that we have one more directory called raw. So there is no file here. So I'll be uploading it manually. As I've told you, we can automate it by using an ADF pipeline also. But let us look at manual process now. So this is our client's data. This is a real-time data. They are the seller. So they do sell across various platforms, but we are just taking a one use case called from the Amazon, but the seller is doing the businesses in across different e-commerce websites. Like they do sell in Flipkart, Amazon, Meesho, JioMart, and yeah, 4 to 5 e-commerce websites. So we have done this project for him, ingesting all the data, and then we implemented it in the Databricks, and finally we created a dashboard for him. So he would just look at the dashboard, looking at what are the sales, in Amazon, sales in Flipkart, and what are the returns, what are the cancellation orders, and so on. So we implemented this for one of the client, but I'm just taking one example, that is the Amazon's data. So with client's permission, we are doing this. But if you want to know the complete end-to-end project, please do let me know on the comment, so that maybe I'll just have a client permission and I'll just uh, do a step-by-step video on all the process. Let me explain you a quick note on this data set. So you have so many columns here. So starting with seller's GST number, then we have an invoice number. So this is the invoice date. This is a backdated date, 2021 record. So we have transaction type, whether the transaction has been completed or it is cancelled or it is refund. So in e-commerce, we get a refund also. So the customers do cancel the order, so that will be a refund. We have an order date, we have a shipment ID, shipment date, order date, then we have a shipment item ID, and what was that item, and what was that ASIN number and HSN number depending on the GST, and what is the SKU of that, and from where it is shipping, which state it is shipping to where it is shipping. You can see this. So it is shipping to various states and cities across India. It's in India only. And later on, after 2 years, they have also started in the global market also, though they started shipping to US and so on. Maybe we will discuss that later on. So we have an amount, total tax, then SGST, CGST, IGST, all the details, and the shipping amount, the tax on the shipping, and so on. So client has given us various KPIs, like they wanted to know about the sales amount, invoice amount, total tax amount, month wise. There were so many things. So if you need it, if you want to implement that end-to-end project, please do let me know on the comment, guys. I'm repeating it again so that next time I'll create an end-to-end on that. So now let us take this CSV file and let me drop that into my container, raw container. So allow me to use the other screen also. Let me just click on upload and I'll just drag it and drop it here. I'll just drag and drop it here. Cool. So it's a June 2021.csv file. So every month we get a new file, like July 2021, August, September, October, November, December, and so on. So every month we'll get one file, that is B2C CSV file. So client is also working on B2B also, that is business to business, where in some cases we will be getting two files. One is B2C for June month as well as B2B for the June month. So we are not considering B2B now, we are just considering B2C. There are so many other cases. For this demo, I have just taken up only small demo, that is B2C month wise. So I'll upload 1 or 2 months, not all the months. So we have data from 2020 to 2024, but for the YouTube video, for learning purpose, I have just picked up only one file, that is June and July. I'll be uploading it. Now this is a CSV file. Now let me go to Databricks here and let me show you how I have connected this by using a storage credential and external location. Let me just click on up catalog, and here you get an option called external data, and here let me click on the data master Databricks and let me click on browse, and here we got one link. If you remember, whatever the directories we can see in our ADLS, I can see all in my external location in the Databricks Workspace. So how I have done it, I'll give a link on this, you can check it later on, or you can if you are using a community edition, you can do all this except the Databricks workflow jobs. You can automate it, but for that you need to mount it. You don't have these all options. So mounting, I have made a separate video on access, mounting via using access key. So you can use an access key to mount it, and once you are mounted, you need a path. Take that path and then we can proceed further. So here we have an Amazon ecom data, and inside this directory we have June 2021.csv file. So why I'm showing you this, because I'll need a path so that I can take this path and start working on it. So it's a CSV file. I'll be directly jumping on data frame. Even I can use SQL, Spark SQL to do this, but CSVs do not come with the headers and the info schemas. So we need to provide an explicit options like headers and info schemas, so that uh, options should be provided. So in Spark SQL, we cannot do that. So we'll go with the data frame style. So I'll just copy the URL from here and go back to my notebook. So I'll just click on the recent, and this is my notebook. Cool. So I'll start working on it now. I'll start creating a data frame. So let me zoom a bit. Spark dot read dot csv, and then I'll provide a path for this. Then I want an headers. It's a CSV file, and remember I'm not providing .csv because there would be few more files there, so I don't want to really keep that files. I want a complete folder, so that's the reason why I have just given raw directory, not a file. So here I'll be using an header equal to true, and then I'll use infer schema equal to true. Cool. Now let me just run this. Yeah, my cluster is attached to the notebook. Cool. You can see here a data frame is created, and we have almost 78 fields. We got a correct data type also. If you look at the data here, we do not have a correct column headers. We have some special characters. So space is also a special character, but when you are writing it to delta, you get an error saying that there are some special characters, but you can use an option called column mapping mode. So if you use delta column mapping mode, it works. You can write it to the delta table, but when you are querying it by using SQL, it becomes very tedious because every time you need to use the single quotes if there are some spaces between the columns. So that becomes very tedious for the analytics people. So we always recommend to rename the column names and just avoid taking any special characters and then save it to a table. And one thing I need to mention here, so client's requirement is I have just taken a sample data from the real-time data set, but there was few GBs of the data for June 2021. So just imagine every month he was getting a GBs of data. So client wanted to, once the ingestion is done, immediately you want to delete the CSV file. Means once the data has been uploaded, you will start processing it. You will ingest that into your bronze layer in the Databricks, and then you delete this CSV file. So the next month July file comes in, so you do the processing. It will just append to the target table. We are going to create a target table called Amazon Bronze. We are going to upload it there, and then we are going to delete that July file also. So we are going to do this automation by using the Databricks workflow jobs. So before we go to the automation, we need to work on developing the code, look at the script here, and then we'll try to do the automation on top of it. Now let me remove this all, and I'll just create a simple variable to this. So I'll just say input path, and I'll just call this entire path. So I don't need to provide this path again and again. So I'll just copy this, I'll paste it here. So I'll just call this input path. I'll remove everything. I'll be using an F string here. So it's a Python's F string. So I'll just call input path. Okay, cool. So now I'll just try to validate this. I'll try to run this. Oh, beautiful. You can see that it works now. So now I want to take this data frame and I want to rename all the column. So when it comes to renaming, there are a number of ways you can do that. So before you create a data frame, you can define your own schema, that is user defined schema, using struct type and struct field. Obviously doing that is a most optimized way, and it's a recommended way. So we have done it in a real-time project. So you can take all the column names and use a struct type and struct field to define it. There you will get a less Spark jobs also. When you define your own schema, there are no Spark jobs. There are 0 Spark jobs. So there are 0 Spark jobs. The time taken would be really very less. But now I have just used an info schema just to save some time. Now I'll be using a user defined function to rename all the column names with one go. So when it comes to user defined function, again, there are a number of ways you can do it. You can use a Spark's built-in function like toDF to do that, or you can build your own Python function called replacing the space with the underscores and so on. There are a number of ways we can do it. So let me implement one way to create a new data frame and rename all the column names. Wherever you have a space, I'll replace it with the underscores. Okay, let us rename these all column names now, replacing the spaces to the underscore. So now let us start with df dot. So we have a data frame function called toDF. There are many ways, as I told you. Let me use star here because I want to apply it to all the columns. And then here I'm going to use a replace. So I'm going to use a variable called call. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm going to use a variable called call dot replace, and I'm going to replace the space with a underscore. Cool. And here I'm going to write for call in df dot columns. Okay, df dot columns. So df dot columns, I'll just go to this df and pull out all the column names, and here I'm going to take that each column and replace it with the underscore wherever you have a space. So let me just try to run this. Yeah, you can see here in the data frame we have all the spaces. For example, seller space gst, invoice space gst, and so on. Sorry, invoice space number and so on. But when it comes to using a toDF function, we have replaced everything with an underscore. Beautiful. There are a couple of ways. So now what I'll do, I'll just save this to a new data frame called df renamed. Okay, so give me a moment. Yeah, cool. So I'll just write df renamed and I'll just run this. Cool. I'll try to run it. So you can display that later on. Now I'll take this df and then we can save it to a table. So again, the client's requirement was very specific. They wanted to save it to an external table and they want to convert it to the delta, obviously. Delta that is on top of Parquet. So we suggested taking it to the taking it to the external table where we will be creating one directory here. The directory name is bronze. So we'll convert this june.csv to the delta format and then store this into the bronze. So we have some files here. Let me just delete these all. Yeah, cool. I have just deleted it. Now I'll just take this df data frame dot and I'm going to write it dot save as table, and I'll just provide the table name here. Okay, but when I'm providing or when I'm writing a save as table without any path or without any keyword location, it would be a managed table. So I have explained in detail what is managed table and external table. If you have not watched, I'll just give a link for that. So I'll be creating an external table here. So I'll use an option here and I'll say path. I'll say a path and then specify a path. So where do you want to save that? So, okay, let us give the table name first. I want to save it into my catalog. My catalog name is data master. In this, I want to create a table in the bronze layer. In this, I want to create it into the Amazon ecom bronze. Okay, ecom bronze. Cool. Now I need to specify the path. So I'll be saving it somewhere in this path only, but after the Amazon ecom, I'll be creating one more directory called bronze. Already the bronze is there. So I'll just save it into the bronze. So what I'll do, I'll create one more variable called output path, and I'll just copy this entire path, paste it here. Instead of raw, I'll just replace it to the bronze. Okay, cool. This looks cool. Let me just run this. I'll take the output path and I'll just put it here in a f string, the way we have done it for reading it. So this will create a table, but the path, the data and the metadata will be stored at this path. Okay, let me run this. And I mean, before I run it, I want to show you the requirement for the client is they want to know the ingestion date and time, on which date and time it was ingested, and also they want to know the path. So I mean, they want to delete that CSV file and then convert it to the delta. I'll show you. Let us first run this. Let us first test it whether it works or not. Yeah, it is working now. I need to show you a couple of things here. First, I'll show you the table and then I'll show you the path. So let me refresh this catalog. Yeah, cool. I got your table now. I can query this table. It's been ingested now. It's ingested, but we haven't done it automation. It's just testing it. So I'll just refresh this, and wow, you can see here in the bronze we got a Parquet file. This is your Parquet file, and we got a delta logs. So Parquet file holds all the data, and this delta logs is all about the metadata about this file. So yes, we have done it. Now let me tell you, I want to delete that CSV file and write it here. So when I try to run this again, I'll definitely get an error. Let me show you. I'll get an error saying that table already exists. Table already exists. You can see this table already exists. So you cannot create a table on this. So what I'll do, I'll use a mode here, mode, and I'll be using an overwrite here, overwrite. So I'll just use an overwrite. So this is a batch data. So I'm using a mode overwrite, and the data set is small. But in real time, we use a mode append, or we go for the incremental data handling by using an autoloader or DLT. For the demo purpose, I'm showing you with the mode override. I'll just try to run it. So it will just truncate. I mean, it will remove all the records and then it will write it back again. So the name or the mode override means that. So it will replace all the records with the new records. Cool. Now this works. Let me just click on this run all and see whether it works or not. So for that, let me just make a SQL cell here, SQL, and I'll write select star from the table name. I'll just copy the table name from here and I'll try to run it. Beautiful. You can see here, all the column names are here. All the column names are here with the renamed column names. We got a new column name. Everything looks perfectly fine. So data set is ready. We got a tabular format from the CSV. Now let me just click on this run all and see whether it works or not. Yeah, this works, this works, this also works. This got executed, and now you finally got your table. Let me go back to my catalog explorer. I'll go to my external location here. External location, that is data master Databricks. I'll browse it, and in the Amazon ecom I should see raw and bronze. In bronze I should see Parquet files and the delta logs, because we have ran that one or twice. So we get a couple of other Parquet files also. Every transaction is been recorded. Cool. Let me go back, and now I want to automate this. So I want to delete that June file and then write this into the delta format. So to do that, to automate these all, I want to create a widget now. I want to create a widget. So let me go back. This is my raw file. So I want to remove this file once the ingestion has been done. Once the ingestion is done, I want to remove this file. So for that, I want to create a widget. So I'll be creating a widget now. So I'll be using dbutils.help. So just to show you what all things we can do with DB utilities. DB utilities is to interact with the rest of the Databricks. You can see this. So I'm going to pick the widgets from here. So I'll just take a widgets.help, and in the widgets we can create the widgets. There are so many ways. I'll be using a text widget here, text widget. So how to create it? So we need dbutils.widgets.text, and you need to pass few things here. First is you need to provide a name of that widget. So I'll just say it's a file name. In simple words, I'll just say it's a file name, and you need a default value. I'm just looking at this guide here, or a documentation. So okay, cool. Default value, I'll not put any default value. I'll just keep it as a blank. And do you want to label it? I think label is just an optional. We can skip it. So this will create a widget, but in that widget there will be a blank value. So I want to get that value of the widget. So to get it, we use a dot get. So dbutils.widget.get and what you want exactly here, I will be calling out the name of that widget called file name. Okay, so let me try to run this now. Let me try to run this. So a widget would be created here at the top. You can see, suppose if I write a May or the June, that is a June file, I guess, June 2021. If I come back and you can see, you get an output here. So how do we productionize this? How do we make this valid? So what I'll do, I'll take this and I'll store this in a variable called v equal to. Okay, so I'll just store that in a v and I'll try to run this again. Cool. So whatever you type it inside this file name, that will be stored in the variable called v. Variable called v. Again, by using this db utilities, if you run dbutilities.help, you get a dbutils.fs, that file system, manipulating all the file system. Okay, let me show you that. If you want dbutils.fs.help, okay, dot help. In this fs is nothing but file system. We can manipulate entire dbfs. In this I'm going to talk about rm. So rm is to remove the file or the directory. So we are going to remove the file. So which file we are going to remove? So we are going to remove the June file. So how do we make this valid? So let me copy this all, come back. Yeah, let me put it here. So once I write that June file, July file, whatever, I want to remove it. So by using this dbutils.fs.rm, I want to specify the path. So let me go here and the you can see here rm will take up a directory. So I'll just remove this help. So directory is in the input path. So I want to remove that file from here. So I'll just take this input path and I'll just use an f string here, put this input path. But in that input path, I don't want to delete everything. I want to delete only that June file. So I'll just put a slash and I'll be using one more variable called v. One more variable called v. So now if I try to run this, now the v value is June 21. Anyway, June 21 file is not available in this input path. You might get an error that there is no file here. But I'll be copying up the exact file name and I'll try to run everything. And you should see that the CSV file has been deleted. Then I mean June 21 file has been deleted and it is returned to the file. So let us go back and try to validate this. I'll go back and yeah, this is my June 21 file. So client is giving me this June file and you want to immediately remove this CSV file and then ingest that into our delta lake. Okay, delta lake into the bronze layer. So I have written my file name here. Now we got updated. Okay, so we got these two variables and data frame is created. We have renamed it and then moving further we will be writing it, and once the writing is done we will be removing it. So do you want to really test it? Maybe if yes, you can keep it or you can skip it. So I have just copied the file name here. Now let me validate it. Let me test it by using this run all. Now you might be thinking like you are using a manual trigger to do this. Are you going to schedule it? Yes, my dear, I'll definitely going to schedule it by using the schedule button now, or you get that option in the Databricks workflows jobs also. I'll just try to test this first, and the second time I'm going to upload a July file and then do the same process. Let me just run this. Okay, validate. Okay, this got executed. I'm interested to check this file whether it's get deleted or not. Oh, cool. It says true. True means the file has been removed. So you can test it in your catalog explorer, or you can go to your ADLS and just have a quick refresh. The file should be removed. Beautiful. You can see that there's no June file here. June file got already appended, or it's already created a bronze layer. Now what I'll do, just remember the number of records in the June. So there are more than 79 records here. So now I'll upload one more file, that is July file, in this container, and I'll just click on run all. So let me take a file from here, that is July 2021. I'll just click on upload and take the July 21 file from here. Yeah, cool. I'll just upload it. Oh, by mistake, I have on the Teams. Okay. So now if you are thinking like, okay, once the file has been arrived, can this process be automated? Yes, we can do that. In Databricks workflows, we have an option called uh, file arrival. Once the file has arrived, your job would be triggered. So I'll talk about that. So the video is going to be very long now. So I'm going to cut it for the part one, and then I'll be showing you how the workflows work. Workflow job can be done. So I'll just click on upload, and I'll take this July 21 file. I'll come back and I'll just paste it here. I'll just paste it here, and then try to click on run all. So now let us see, let us just look at the number of records and let us see whether that file got deleted or not. Oh, we got an error here. Just a minute now, let me fix it. Overwrite. Mm, the schema is almost same. You can see that it got replaced. It looks absolutely fine, but after data frame, mode override, table name is correct. Yeah, every so once it gets the execution failed, all the commands would be skipped. So delta failed to merge the fields, shipment ID and the shipment ID. I think both are absolutely same. So what I'll do, just to make this valid, I'll try to drop the previous table and then try to run everything once again. So I don't know, like, let me try to drop this, drop table. Let me try to drop this table. Yeah, cool. Now let me try to run this again. Yeah, it works now. It works now. Oh, cool. No, it's still showing me a shipment ID error. Let me fix this, guys. Give me. Yeah, cool. It worked, guys. I just dropped the table again, and I've also removed the metadata from this, and now it worked. Okay, now it worked. You can see that I just removed the metadata, and now let me try to click on this to test. Yeah, it shows true. Let me go back and then check the raw file. Yeah, there is no July file, but I'm interested to see the number of records in that. So previously there were around 79 or something like that. Let me check how many records we have here. Yeah, cool. So we have 186 records. It means we have June file and the July file. So this is how we can automate it. So once you get a new file, just take that file name, put it here, and then click on run all. It will be validated. So let me stop the video here for the part one. This is how we generally do the data ingestion and do a automation on top of it. But when it comes to task orchestration, when it comes to triggering it, we use Databricks workflows, or we can use this scheduling part. So let me explain this scheduling part and then we'll stop it. But this scheduling part has got limitation. It works only when you have a single task to be scheduled. But if there are multiple tasks, like, okay, you do the first task and then you do the second task, then you have to go with the Databricks workflows. So let me just click on this scheduling part, and you can see here job name. You can specify the job name, and the scheduling are of two types. One is manual and one is you can do a scheduling. So on which date and time you want to schedule it, you can use that, and then you can select the cluster you want. So you can use the all purpose cluster, or you can take up a new cluster called a job compute. So job compute, the cost of it would be less as compared to the all purpose compute, and it is specially designed for this production environment, like this use cases. Like once the job has been done, once this notebook has been executed, your cluster will terminate immediately, so saving you a tons of rupees. Then you can pass the parameter. In this case, the parameter the value is file name, and you can pass the value that is, for example, August 2021.csv and so on. And you can set up some alerts when the pipeline fails or when this complete notebook fails. You can just get notified on this email address, or you can use another alerts also, like for start and success. So this is scheduling, but only for one particular task, one particular notebook. You cannot create a different dependencies. For that, we have to go for the Databricks workflow jobs. So whatever we have done till now, you can do all that in your community edition. Just if you want to do it uh, free, you can use community edition. But if you have a premium Azure Databricks account or AWS Databricks account, you can go further and do workflows also. So in part 2, we will be creating a workflow, and we will be using a types of scheduling, like file arrival scheduling. So once we get a file, we'll just put a parameter and everything will be automated. So that's all for this video, guys. So thank you for watching this. So if you want such projects, please do let me know on the comment so that I can implement an end-to-end project. So we are already working on few of the clients, so I can request them and I can make them record them for only for the YouTube for you all. So thank you once again. If you like the content, please do subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it with your friends, and also do comment. Thank you. Bye bye. See you in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe. Bye bye.